So I'm in my office last week. I get a call from two high school students that want my professional opinion on the Justin Bieber case. So, of course, I couldn't say no to this pro bono work, and I reviewed the police report, some witness statements, some video of Justin Bieber just before this alleged drag race, and let me tell you, this kid was treated unfairly. Totally. Fortunately, he was treated so unfairly that I think it's really going to help out his case. Plus, he's got great counsel, and I think he's going to put this behind him with no problem, aside from the bad publicity, which all publicity is good publicity. Let me tell you the issues that I have with this case after reviewing thousands of police reports and handling hundreds of criminal trials and working on thousands of cases. You can tell when something's not right. You can tell when law enforcement officers are overreaching. So the first thing you want to do is ask, why are the law enforcement officers overreaching? Well, in this case, they arrested someone who's pretty popular and word's going to get out. They had to know that this was going to have media attention. Law enforcement officers don't like to arrest police officers. They don't like to arrest state attorneys. They don't like to arrest criminal defense attorneys. And they don't like to arrest powerful people or popular people because they don't like having their work reviewed or scrutinized. We've been doing that since the 50s, 60s with constitutional law and putting restrictions on law enforcement officers and penalizing them and taking their evidence away when they do something incorrect. Good law enforcement officers almost have to be as knowledgeable as some criminal defense attorneys in limited areas, not on a broad spectrum, but in terms of evidence gathering techniques and the way they conduct themselves and what is right, publicly acceptable, and what has the appearance of propriety. Anyway, I don't want to go on too long, even though it seems that I already have, but here's the problems that I have with the case. Number one, a Lamborghini going 55 miles an hour is not street racing at all. Number two, in the moments prior to the street race, I saw a video of fans trying to get at the pop star while he's in his Lamborghini, and he's got 7 of his bodyguards around the Lamborghini standing outside of the car trying to appropriately stopping the kids from coming up and jumping in the windows. Justin heads out, and maybe he couldn't resist the temptation to drive what officers claim was estimated to be 55 miles an hour. They didn't have any electronic surveillance equipment, no radar gun, nothing like that. 55 miles an hour. And they want to allege street racing. That's unfair. I think it leads to some predisposition. What also leads to predisposition is when they made contact with Justin, the investigating officer said he reeked of alcohol. Reeked of alcohol. Later, his blood alcohol content will have been shown to be a .04, although they represented that he just miserably failed the breath test, which was performed on the CMI's Intoxilizer 8000, which is manufactured in Kentucky, and will register a .02 or a .04 if you had a drink around Christmas time. Now, failed miserably, and also that he admitted while being the subject of a criminal investigation for multiple offenses, hey, by the way, let me assist you with your investigation. I was smoking pot, I'm high, I'm drunk, and I had prescription medication that I couldn't resist eating before I drove, and I'm just trashed. So the pop star, who I think is pretty sharp, allegedly made all of these statements. Furthermore, apparently Justin had a look of stupor on his face. Well, I don't know what a look of stupor is, but the officer also explained that he reeked of alcohol, bloodshot eyes, and was just moving incredibly slow and lethargic. But this slow and lethargic, impaired person was enough of a threat so that the law enforcement officer investigating had to physically restrain the pop star, place him under arrest because he felt that Justin Bieber's furtive movements were enough to warrant that action be taken to avoid any officers being injured. It was after that arrest that he was given the opportunity to submit to chemical testing, which of course he agreed to, trying to prove his innocence that you're not supposed to do in this country, but violated the zero tolerance law that we have for minors, which says that they can't have a blood alcohol level of a 0.02 or above. Strict liability, which means that the penalties are very light, but they're easy to establish. Just about anybody is going to have that blood alcohol level in their system, even with the lightest of social drinking. Remember, it's not illegal to have a drink in this country and drive, unless you're a minor. Okay, granted. Maybe Justin Bieber violated that law. Maybe he sped. Maybe his license was not valid or was suspended. And maybe he did pull back when the law enforcement officer aggressively grabbed his arm to place him under arrest. And I bet he was belligerent, because I bet he was shocked as to why he got stopped. I bet he was angry. I bet he doesn't like being outside of the vehicle in the streets of Miami, especially when he was almost mobbed by fans. And I got to hand it to him, because when he was being approached in his rented Lamborghini and his bodyguards were all around, in looking at this amateur video, I kind of got the impression that it was understood that as a group, the whole posse, him and his whole posse, as a group, him and his bodyguards and his staff knew that they had to treat his fans with some respect, because they weren't being aggressive and in stopping the fans from running up to the car, but they did appear to have concern. Okay? You know what this kid did? And he is a kid. Whether or not he's a famous kid or not is inconsequential. He's a kid, and you know what he did? He sped in his Italian race car through the streets of Miami. He drove 20 miles over the speed limit, something that we've all done before. And certainly all of this didn't need to get to this level. Anyway, that's my review of the case. I'm William Moore.